Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Golden Podcast. Today with me, I have Mark from Dragon Ball Dad. How are you doing today? Oh yeah, well, we're the what if duo, as a lot of people say now, so, we have a lot of things to say, and quite a few flash what ifs, and what do I mean by flash what ifs? This is going to be a regular series, guys, where we take about 5 what ifs, maybe 6, kind of just go through them, talk about them for about 5 minutes. But without further ado, let's start off with the first one. What if Piccolo and Krillin were not turned to stone by Dabra? So, let me start with you, Mark.
Well, I look at this and I see Krillin maybe not having much of an impact because Goku already told him to run away and power-wise he's not up there. But Piccolo could probably take down the first couple of layers in Majin Buu, in Buu's layer and Dabura's spaceship, because there was really not that much of a threat there, and it would make sense for Piccolo to go first. I'm not sure how far he could get. He definitely wouldn't be a match for Dabura, but before then, I think he could have done pretty well, especially because he's an intelligent fighter. The opponent in the dark would maybe play up to his intelligence and get him a victory that way, where Super Saiyan Goku had to use his light to get through that layer. How far do you think he could go yourself in terms of the test in Dabura's spaceship?
So, obviously Krillin would not be there because at the beginning Goku was just like, hey, this is too dangerous for you, Krillin. You need to get out of here. And before Krillin could even leave, he was turned to stone. But just to answer your question, I think Krillin could probably defeat Pui Pui. I'm pretty sure there are people out there who would disagree. And after that, he probably should go home. But with Piccolo, definitely can defeat Pui Pui. Yakan, I think it's a pretty easy win for him just based on where I think he is and where Yakan is, because honestly I see Yakan probably around 100% Frieza at most, and Piccolo stronger than Semi-Perfect Cell, at least. So, yeah, Piccolo pretty much has everything on lock until he gets over to Dabra, and then that's whenever things start to get hairy.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because he's definitely stronger than the first couple of opponents. Dabura, I don't think he could take him, but it would be a good opportunity for Gohan to observe the fight and kind of learn about Dabura's moves in the way that kind of Goku planned for the Perfect Cell fight, because Gohan can learn about his opponent and maybe put up a better performance, not aggravating Vegeta as much as he did. And if he did manage to put up a really improved performance thanks to what he'd learnt through Piccolo's fight, then maybe we could avoid Majin Vegeta, but that would mean Gohan would have to perform a lot better, really, and maybe we still couldn't avoid that.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Piccolo stands a chance against Dabra, just because Piccolo is already much weaker than Kaioshin at that point, and I don't see Kaioshin being stronger than Dabura, so at this point, for Piccolo to really stand a chance, I would have to say that he would have to team up with Kaioshin or Gohan or someone else. And at that point, it's not like Piccolo has this pride like Goku or Vegeta. Like, they're just like, oh, we want to fight one-on-one, so that's just the way we're going to go. Because that's the way Dragon Ball is, I guess.
Oh, a Gohan Piccolo team-up would have been pretty cool. And it would have made a lot of sense because Gohan wasn't very confident and Piccolo's kind of always the guy who's there to motivate and help him. We saw them team up in a similar way in the Tournament of Power and Super. So maybe together they would have enough about them to take them down. But Vegeta wanted to get the Majin state, so Majin Vegeta would always enter the scene. I don't know what impact Piccolo could have after that, because Piccolo would be around when Gohan left to go and stop Buu, so he would be involved in the first encounter with Buu, but power-wise he's not really strong enough to have an impact. Maybe he could escape with Kai and be able to do some training with the Z-Sword along with Gohan to really up his power. It's the only way I could see him staying in the story.
Yeah, aside from the first 2 fights, honestly, I just don't see Piccolo making that much of an impact. If someone else fights Dabra besides Gohan, or just anyone else, there's that risk where he could turn them into stone in that fight. So even though Piccolo might not be turned to stone initially, he might get turned to stone in that fight. Because one of the things is during that fight between Gohan and Dabura, we saw Deborah like actually get the spit off onto. That sounded wrong.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He nearly turned Gohan into stone.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if Piccolo was in midair and didn't have the chance to land or something like that, he might just shatter it. He might just get shattered and die even sooner than what he did in the original series. And at that point, there might not be someone to teach Gotenks or there might not be someone to teach Goten and Trunks the fusion. So I mean, this what if can really end up in a lot of different ways depending on just how they deal with Deborah. But on another note, maybe Piccolo would realize that Gohan is alive at that point. Because one of the things is, I feel like that there was this whole hopelessness that was kind of built up because, like, people thought Gohan was dead and then Vegeta was dead against Buu. So it was just like, oh crap, what are we going to do against this guy? So Piccolo knowing that Gohan is alive, possibly, I mean, especially if he's alongside Kaioshin and Kaioshin tells him or something like that.
That would be really good. I mean, anything that helps us avoid Gotenks is a plus for the series as far as I'm concerned. So maybe there wouldn't be as much emphasis on Goten and Trunks, and it would be more a case of surviving, because Goten and Trunks were kind of passed the ball as the only survivors, with Goku having to leave and not wanting to take down the threat himself. So Goten and Trunks maybe would just train individually in the hyperbolic time chamber to get their power levels up. I don't know why Goku never told them how they managed to hit perfected Super Saiyan, and because surely they could have just stayed Super Saiyan in there until it felt natural to get a power up that way and give us a stronger Goten and Trunks who could buy time knowing that Gohan was coming back. And I'd much prefer it wrote like that, because I think Gotenks kind of killed Goten and Trunks' development, because any threat they go will just fuse, whereas if they'd had to train as individuals and try and put up a fight against Buu as individuals, they would have had this kind of threat and learning experience and development, and going past that they wouldn't just fuse, they would have to progress as individuals. So killing Gotenks is a great idea for this what if.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, I think at this point the gap in power is a little bit too large for Goten and Trunks to really catch up and defeat Buu or even fight with Buu without the fusion. So
yeah, I'm just being a dreamer, anything to get rid of Gotenks.
Yep, and to actually give Goten and Trunks some real development.
Yeah, but surely what I said about them being told to stay in a Super Saiyan form is something you tell your kids until it become normal. To get that kind of power up that Goku got and Gohan got through their training, and that's pretty much the premise of the training they did before Cell, was to get being Super Saiyan feeling normal. Why haven't they ever told them that? It baffles me, but that's just their parenting choices, I guess. Keep the kids weak so we can keep the spotlight.
That's true, and I guess the best answer is that they didn't really have any threats to deal with, so there's no reason for them to be crazy powerful, even though there are some guides out there that say that Goten and Trunks are somewhat comparable to Teen Gohan in the Buu arc. So, I mean, if you believe that, then yeah, Goten and Trunks could be a lot stronger than what you think. It's just, I don't think that they're that strong.
Yeah, if they were comparable to Teen Gohan at that point, and then they managed to hit Super Saiyan 2, that would be ridiculous. We'd end up with Super Saiyan God Goten instead of Goku.
Oh man. And then we'd have Goten Black.
That's Real's job, not ours, to do that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've talked about this one enough. Let's move on to the next one. What if the humans trained in the Room of Spirit in time for the Saiyans, or the Saiyans, depending on however you like to say it?
Yeah, you wanted me to go first on this one as well?
I can go first on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, I mean, we saw in the Cell arc that Vegeta just crossed these crazy amounts of power. And yeah, like, he was like, in his base form is obviously in the millions, and he crossed into even more, like, the higher millions of strength. But I still think that at this point of the series, powers are probably low enough to where the Room of Spirit in time would give a bigger boost just relative to the person's strength, if that makes sense. So, yeah. I honestly don't think that they could hack it just going straight in there, like right as soon as they're gathered up to go train over at the Heavenly Realm. So I think that they'd have to do probably at least like 6 months of training, and then they'd probably be strong enough to where they could actually withstand 10 times gravity. Because one of the things is Goku was in like the 400 range, and he was like barely being able to stand over at Kaio's planet. So I would say that it probably is the same for the humans, especially since they aren't exactly a warrior race or anything like that. So I would say that, of course, they'd be stronger. That's definitely a given. But how much stronger? I would probably say just at this point, they might be able to fight head-to-head with Nappa without getting totally slaughtered. But I honestly don't think that they would all survive. Maybe it would be enough to where Piccolo could survive. But, I mean, another thing, just narratively, I don't see the humans also being stronger than Piccolo at that point. Just because, in the context of the story, it just doesn't make much sense to me. So, I mean, I would probably say that for the sake of this what if, I would give Piccolo a plot boost.
Yeah,
just so that way he is stronger.
Yeah, Chatsu shows up stronger than Piccolo, we've got problems.
Yeah, that's not really good for good storytelling. You'd have to make it kind of different. And also, just another thing is what made Nappa so impactful as a villain and just coming onto Earth. Like, everyone at that point was pretty much above Raditz, maybe except for Chaozu and Yajirobe. But and they got slaughtered. Like, the very first punch that Nappa did, like, one of Goku's old rivals, Ten Shinhan, knocked his arm clean off. So, I mean, it would be really cool to see all the humans fight more head-to-head with Nappa, but at the same time, Nappa might suffer as a villain because of that.
Yeah, the best way I would see this going to kind of give Nappa his credibility, but kind of keep the Earthlings more powerful, is maybe Krillin finishing him off with his Kianzon, his Destructo Disc, because that was close to hitting. He only avoided it because of Vegeta, but maybe if it's a faster attack thanks to Krillin's power boost, he might not be able to get out the way. But then it would mean Vegeta would be pretty much slaughtering people before Goku showed up, but it would still keep Nappa up there and kind of give a purpose to the training so it changed events in a way.
Ooh. You just made me think of something. Because one of the things is that the situation was so desperate that Krillin just screamed out, like, Goku, why aren't you here? And that's what intrigued Vegeta to give them an extra 3 hours. So that role would have to be fulfilled by Vegeta at least. Like, Vegeta would have to start killing people, and maybe that would pique his interest. It's just, who does Vegeta kill at this point? I would probably say he might actually go after Krillin, or just whoever the person was that killed Nappa.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like Krillin in the canon. He seems to have a bit of a hate for Krillin, so I could understand Krillin going. But maybe,
especially in Team 4-Star.
Yeah, maybe Gohan, because he knows he's Kakarot's son, and he knows that would impact on Kakarot. So going after Gohan would have a big impact on the story. Probably the biggest impact, and give us an angry Goku.
And
right off
Piccolo
the bat.
for that instance.
Yeah.
Because I think at that point, Piccolo would want to fight with Goku against Vegeta.
Yeah, until he saw how behind he was, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, I'll just say this. Like, I would probably say that, I would probably put Piccolo about 6,000, and all of the humans like in the 4,000 range. I mean, just for anyone who wants to hear power levels and numbers, that's where I'd put them at in this what if. The humans around 4,000 range, Piccolo 6,000 range, and Nappa, I have him at 7,500 at full power. And no, guys, the Daizenshu of having him at 4,000 is not accurate, obviously, because 8,000 Goku and Nappa were fighting pretty evenly.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would probably say, maybe Yamcha would die again first, just because in this instance, Yamcha just always comes into every single confrontation like, yeah, I'm a badass, and he just gets mollywopped.
Yeah, he could survive the explosion from the Saibai Man, though.
Oh, he would definitely survive it at this point.
Which would be at least something for Yamcha. Being, you got to give the dude something. I can't imagine how much else it would change for him, but at least it's something.
That's right. Actually, I think that what would happen is that all the Cybermen would probably just dogpile on Yamcha and self-destruct, and that would be enough power to kill him.
That's out of the that Yamcha manga. That's exactly how he got killed off in that, isn't it?
Oh, no, that's how he survived it, I guess. But did he get dogpiled in that manga? I didn't even read it, honestly.
I think so, unless I've just dreamed it. Maybe I could have dreamt it. I have a bad memory, dude.
Oh, because I thought I just remembered it being like one Cyberman just self-destructing. I didn't realize it was like he got dogpiled.
Sorry, dude. It's just that turn of phrase is just amusing me for some reason.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the Yamcha death.
Okay.
Chaozu would probably be next out, just because it would make sense. Because relatively to everybody else, he's not going to be up there. But if he did self-destruct, it would probably damage Nappa this time, because he's at a higher level.
At least that. And unless if Nappa did something to Ten Shinhan again, like punched off his arm or something like that, I don't know. I don't know if Chaozu would go in for the self-destruct. Because, another thing. That Chaozu might be strong enough to where his psychic powers actually work on Nappa. So Chaozu could possibly paralyze Nappa, and Ten Shinhan comes in there with a Kikoho and just destroys him.
That would be awesome. That would be like the biggest like TN fanboy's dream come true, that he gets that moment there.
Oh, that would.
I wouldn't mind it so much. But then we'd have everybody at full power versus Vegeta, so it would definitely highlight Vegeta's strength a lot more, because Piccolo...
Vegeta would just demolish everyone. I think that it would honestly go kind of the same as the Nappa fight at that point. Just, like, everyone is scaled up, of course, because of this what if. So, at this point... So, I would say Vegeta goes in and just wrecks Ten Shinhan. And then that's whenever Chaozu comes in and self-destructs. And that doesn't hurt Vegeta. Or so we get the final Kikoho again from Ten Shinhan. And then that's whenever Krillin just screams out again like, "Goku, this guy's too powerful, where are you?"
Yeah, and then we get the break. With no Nappa wrecking Earth, so it's good for Earth, because we don't get that scene that we got where Nappa was fighting random stuff in the anime. So yeah, it's good all round.
At this point, it literally could just go exactly the same. Because one of the things is, Vegeta, as soon as he sensed Goku at 5,000, he was just like, I need to get rid of everyone. Nappa, kill everyone.
Yeah. If Vegeta decided to kill everyone, he would just kill them just as Goku was arriving, which would be a scene for Goku to see.
Yeah. And who knows how strong Gohan would be at this point, because we didn't even mention him, really, besides just that we think that he might get killed by Vegeta.
Oh, if he trained in the hyperbolic time chamber or the room of spirit and time, I think it would have the most impact on Gohan, because we're always told he has the most potential, and he's got that saying, white warrior race biology. Gohan would maybe double in power at the very least. I'm trying to think of a number for Gohan. It's a tough one. Where would you place him number wise?
Over 9,000. Whenever he fires the Masenko,
with his rage boost.
Yeah, with his rage boost, I'd probably say around there.
That'd be a brutal rage boost.
It would, but it wouldn't be enough to really do anything against Vegeta.
No, and Azura Gohan would be obviously 10 times more powerful than that. Well, we've got a real strong giant ape that's definitely going to squash Vegeta.
Well, another thing is that if just, let's say everything goes the way that it normally did, I would say at
Yeah, definitely after he'd had his tail removed from Yajirobe. He was really damaged at that point because he couldn't access enough power to kill people at the level they were originally. So if he couldn't quite kill off the original cast, he couldn't even put Krillin down to a knocked out point. He thought he'd put him out of the fight, but he got back to his feet to obviously fire the Spirit Bomb. So Krillin would probably be able to continue the fight after Vegeta had landed that blow on him. So it would be a 2-against-1 situation all the way through it. So maybe I'm trying to think how they would end up getting the energy off Goku though. They'd still need that Spirit Bomb, but I don't know how they could stop the fight.
I mean, at this point, maybe the tag team of Gohan and Krillin would be enough to take on Vegeta and tire him out.
Yeah, it could well be when he's that tired.
Yeah.
That Spirit Bomb energy's going to waste, isn't it? But I'd like that better anyway. I like the idea of Gohan and Krillin getting the win. Yeah,
that would be pretty cool, but if they killed Vegeta, that'd be pretty crazy for the series.
Oh, if they kill Vegeta, yeah. Namek would be more interesting with Vegeta alive because he'd have even more reason to hate Gohan and Krillin when they showed up.
That's
They'd
true.
be his main rival because it would be them who put him down rather than Goku.
Well, I think that he'd have more vengeance against just Gohan and Krillin because the thing is that Gohan and Krillin never surpassed Vegeta like Goku did.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I think that we've gone down that rabbit hole enough, so let's go on to the next one. Next, what if? What if Goku knocked out Jace instead of Birder? So, I mean, obviously, Vegeta would kill Rikumen, Jace, and Birder would go and fly off to go get Ginyu, probably. I mean, I know you have a different spin on it, but since Birder is the king of speed at this point, he would be able to get to Ginyu faster. And probably come back faster, so I guess all Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin's conversation would end a little bit sooner. But how do you think it'd start out, anyway?
Well, the only way I could have seen it a little bit differently was if Birder was a braver character than Jace and didn't run off to get Ginyu and decided to try and fight. I mean, just to change up things a bit. I mean, the way you said, if he does rush off and get Ginyu, kind of the impact isn't that massive because he's kind of relative to Jace, so he's not going to be able to make an impact in the fight against Goku, really. So, unless they get the back there quick enough and he attacks straight away, so Goku and Vegeta both have to fight, rather than Vegeta running off at the last second, which would change things a lot. This is kind of a funny what if, because it's kind of so similar that changing it is really a lot more difficult than the ones we just did previously. But yeah, Birder being braver and staying the fight would end up in Birder's death and Ginyu not being summoned to that site, and they'd probably all encounter Ginyu together when they went over to get the Dragon Balls because he was guarding them at that point. So the clash with Ginyu would be a lot different. Maybe we wouldn't even get Ginyu Goku because Vegeta was kind of aware of that technique, I believe. He should have been anyway. Oh, he wasn't, was he? Yeah, he was shocked by it because he was going to get caught up in it. Well, anyway, forget I said that. I've lost my train of thought completely because I just messed that up. Yeah, it was everybody versus Ginyu. He wouldn't have time to do the technique he used on Goku because Vegeta being around, seeing Ginyu injure himself as he prepared to do the technique, I'd see Vegeta just charging and killing him then, like he did the rest of the members when they saw them weak, which would make sense to me. And then everybody's kind of fit for Frieza coming, which means Goku doesn't get a Zenkai boost and they all die.
Yeah, I mean, there's different scenarios. I mean, I think Laughingstock Media did one on, what if Goku fought First Form Frieza on Namek at, his 90,000 base. But, I mean, with this whole, Birder being alive instead of Jace, nothing really changes, honestly, besides just maybe one key scene. And that's whenever Vegeta is fighting Jace in the original. This time it'd be Birder. And since Birder is the Speed King at this point, he would probably do something similar to what Dispo did whenever he was fighting against Frieza. And then Frieza's just you're not fast, and just caught him with his tail or something like that. So I think that Birder would zip around in all directions and all that kind of stuff and just be like I got this guy, he's wide open, and goes to hit him in the back. And then Vegeta just pulls his hand up and just blocks it without even looking back. And then he turns back, gives him a swift punch in the gut, and before Birder could even react, he's blasted away dead.
Don't underestimate the speed of a Saiyan. That's a definite Vegeta line there.
That's true. He could just be like, yeah, it's pretty much like a spin on what he said against Zarbon. He was just like, we Saiyans are a proud warrior race. Don't underestimate us. And except for this time, he'd be like, we Saiyans are a fast warrior race. But yeah, I think we got that out of the way. So, another kind of trivial what if. What if Cell absorbed 18 before 17? Starting with you.
It could change the appearance, firstly, of the mid-range Cell, the imperfect Cell. I thought it may change the power level, with 18 obviously being weaker than 17. But you had a different theory on the power levels. But those changes I see, and I also see having an impact because 17 probably wouldn't run away like 18 did because he has pride. So maybe we would get perfect Cell early, which would have just a ginormous impact on events. But if 17 did run away, maybe Krillin could put her down, put 17 down with the remote, because Krillin doesn't have feelings for 17 unless there's something I've missed somewhere, and one Eva twin's fine for Krillin, and the same thing happens. Hopefully not, but yeah, those are the kind of changes I see. I don't know if you see anything extra than that.
I mean, yeah. If Cell really did have a design change, I would imagine that he would kind of look a little bit more, I don't know.
Blonde. He'd look more blonde, is the only way I could.
I guess. Because honestly, I don't think Cell's power would change that much, if any, because the amount that 17 is stronger than 18 by is, again, very, very trivial. So it's not really like a wide enough gap to be like, oh, 17 is just this much more powerful than 18. It's just always been more implied that it's just like maybe 5-10% stronger, if that. So, I mean, if 17 just chose to stay behind and fight a fight against Cell, yeah, he'd get absorbed, he'd get absorbed right away if Ten Shinhan didn't step in. But I don't know if 17 would fight Cell after 16 got his head pretty much damaged like crazy. So maybe that would be the point where 17 is just like, you know what, I'm just going to back out over here and run away and figure out what to do. Because, I don't know.
Yeah, 17 I couldn't see kind of hiding out with this, like, 17's plans to hide would probably be a lot different to 18 because his character's so much different. And that's the main difference between those two. I think he's a clever guy, but he's kind of arrogant and kind of rushes into situations. So I don't know how he would do trying to hide in the shadows. Can't kind of imagine him as that kind of character. Maybe he would be more willing to team up with some of the Z fighters to survive, just because he has to. Obviously, it would be a last resort, but maybe if he teamed up with Piccolo after they'd managed to recover, maybe they could do something to kind of survive for a bit longer against that form of Cell.
Yeah, I think that at this point, Cell is just way above them, because even just Cell in his imperfect state, like, yeah, 17 and Piccolo both tried to put up a stand against him.
Yeah, that's what
didn't go too well.
Yeah, they need to recover and then throw in Trunks and Vegeta and everybody before the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yep, but like you were saying, I would say the most significant thing that could happen is that Krillin would hit the button on the remote and deactivate 17, because, yeah, he doesn't have that same crush as he did with 18. And yeah, you can bring up the argument, anyone who's listening to this, just like that Krillin spared 18 because he was just like, she's not that bad of a person, and she is a person. Like, she might be an artificial human, and yeah, a cyborg at that, because yeah, cyborg, half human, half robot, but I still think that Krillin would be more inclined to press that button. And at that point, there'd be no Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or anything like that, and I could probably see Dabra just killing everyone at that point, because he would be way too much for everyone. So yeah, series ender.
Yeah, it really would be. I mean, let's Goku always trains and he survived, so we'd probably want a perfect Super Saiyan. So we maybe could have a stronger Goku because he's, well, not a stronger Goku because he wouldn't have Super Saiyan 3, but maybe Super Saiyan 2 level if he'd carried on training on Earth and used that Spirit of Time, Ruber Spirit of Time, because it's a big gap. Goku's going to get some jumps in that time. And Vegeta would continue training heavily too with Goku around.
It's true, but I mean, Goku learned the fusion technique in the afterlife, and Super Saiyan 2 was pretty much obsolete against Majin Buu at that point. So, yeah, they wouldn't really stand a chance, unfortunately, unless if somehow the Z Sword broke and someone was able to get their ultimate form unlocked or whatever.
Yeah, that kind of makes any of the Saiyans get a victory.
Yeah, but let's move on to the next one. What if Frieza killed Gohan instead of Krillin whenever Goku was about to turn Super Saiyan?
Yeah, well, I said for this we still get Super Saiyan Goku, but a lot more anger. Even though Krillin's his best friend and they're really close, I think losing your son is going to push you that much further, and he'd maybe just wipe out Frieza straight away rather than giving him the opportunity to blow up the planet, which would kind of mean we get to see Namek survive, which would be good for the Namekians. We wouldn't have to have them on Earth or have new Namek. Dende would get to stay at home, and Piccolo maybe could spend some time there before he came back. But more impactfully, really, is that there would be no Mecha Frieza, and you really came up with a great scenario where Cell doesn't have the genes of Frieza because Frieza doesn't come to Earth, so we get a very different Cell. Mainly a King Cold Cell, really. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Cell's design is very, very Frieza-esque. I mean, if you really analyze it, like, the head part of his... I mean, just the head part alone, like, you can already see, like, the Cooler type look to it. Like, how Cooler has that fifth form. And I know Cooler isn't technically canon, but, I mean, he is a Frieza race. So, at this point, he would definitely be more cold than anything. Because I've always theorized that Cell looks more like Frieza and King Cold because those two are the most powerful at the time. And so their designs are based on that. And also, it makes sense since Cell can breathe in space and all that kind of good stuff. And just the fact that Cell is green kind of tells me that he has taken on a lot of Piccolo's genes and has kind of harnessed those more than anything. Like, I would honestly say that Frieza, King Cold, and Piccolo are the main things that really influence Cell's design.
Yeah, this would probably be more heavily leaning towards Vegeta if it didn't have any Frieza in. It'd have mainly Cold because Cold's the strongest character. But after that, Vegeta would be the strongest Cells he had. So it would be a more Saiyanized Cell, which would be a very different Cell because Saiyans have a very different character to what Cell had. Saying his character was influenced by his cells, that is. So it would be very different, just in my opinion. Possibly weaker. Well, it should be weaker without any Frieza cells in there. So maybe we could get a quicker defeat of Cell because we don't have any Frieza cells in there. Trunks would still get his cool entrance, but not as cool, which is a bit of a shame. That's one of my favourite scenes, Trunks' entrance to the series.
And it's possible that whenever Trunks met Cell in the timeline that we've never seen, maybe Cell will have been weak enough to where Trunks could kill him.
Yeah, because there was a lack of people for Cell to absorb, and he was imperfect at that point. That'd be very different for future Earth. I quite like that idea, and Trunks could be there to put down the threat.
Yeah, and I mean, with Gohan also having his first death earlier, I think that he might be a little bit different personality-wise. Because, I mean, obviously dying has to be traumatic.
Yeah, hopefully it could inspire him to become more focused on martial arts and training. And we'd get to see Gohan realise his potential without the need for that ritual. Because I think rituals kind of go against the principles of Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball for me is work hard, and you can be strong enough to defeat any threat. Work harder if you lose, and you'll get there in the end. Whereas that ritual was kind of don't train for 10 years, don't do nothing for 10 years, and you can still be the strongest guy in the show. So hopefully if he trained all his life, we wouldn't really need that ritual.
Yeah, like I see Gohan kind of being like how he was in the universe survival arc. Because, I mean, that Gohan was very proactive and, like, ready to fight. And still has that whole thing of, like, he wants to be a scholar and have a wife and children and live a normal life. But I think that Gohan might be a little bit more driven to keep training. And it would give us maybe a real explanation to why he might possibly train in between, like, the 7-year gap, like, in the 7 years of peace and all that. So, I mean, it would give us that explanation to why Gohan doesn't want to, I guess, die again. That he wants to be stronger so that way that to where he doesn't die again.
Oh, out of that, he would definitely crush Dabura if he'd continued training was at maximum power at that point. So we wouldn't have got Majin Vegeta either. Because we wouldn't have seen Vegeta get angry in front of one of the minions, because Gohan would have crushed him. I believe, anyway, if Gohan had trained hard throughout that 7-year gap, he'd be way stronger than he was against Cell, rather than weaker. So I think he'd walk through Dabura, possibly, depending on the training he's done. Maybe I'm overselling Gohan's potential here, but we're always told he has the most potential in the show. Whether or not you agree with that or not, I'm not certain, but if he trained, he'd be a big threat in the Buu arc.
Yeah, I do agree. And honestly, where I'd probably put him strength-wise, I guess, I would probably put him maybe even stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Goku trained in the afterlife. I mean, Gohan really does have a lot of potential. He went from being weaker than all the base Saiyans to being the strongest one in the Cell games. Even whenever Goku suggested Gohan to fight, everyone was just like, what? You're suggesting Gohan? And then after Gohan powered up, they were just like, whoa, he's the real deal.
Yeah, the same thing happened with the ritual. He was like the weakest Saiyan other than Goten and Trunks at that point in the Buu arc. And then he got his potential unlocked and he was like stronger than Goku, which was crazy for a ritual.
Yeah, that is. But I don't know. I'm kind of tapped out on this what if. Do you have any other ideas before we move on to the last one?
No. Just if Gohan always trained, he'd probably end up as the main character, probably, when we get to Super, I think, if he's already ahead of Goku. So maybe we could get Super Saiyan God Gohan, and people would like that. Gohan fans would like that, but then again, Goku's the kind of character who wants to catch up anybody, so maybe he would surpass him anyway by sheer determination. That's who Goku is. So maybe it wouldn't change anything.
Yep, I like that, though. But let's move on to the very last what if, and these are kind of a 4-way what if, I guess, but they're just very short. So let's start with the first of the fusion what ifs. What if Goku fused with Ten Shinhan to fight against Super Buu?
I don't see him getting enough of a power boost to be able to kind of get the victory here. How would the transformations work here? He's half Saiyan, half human. Can he still use Super Saiyan 3? We'll have to say that he can to give him some hope. Then, mind you, it's a multiplication because it's the partners. So Tien times Goku would be, and they know each other quite well, so it's a strong fusion. Maybe he could take him down.
Fusions always seem to vary, though, because Vegito is obviously, like, immensely more powerful than, like, say, Goku and Vegeta just put together, but, like, say, Merge Zamasu, like, it's been stated that Merge Zamasu is as strong as 2 Super Saiyan Blues put together.
Ah, so that's more like a plus rather than a times.
Kinda. It makes sense, too, because it just happens to conveniently fit in with my power scaling, because I have Kibito Shin twice that of Kaioshin. So it's just like awesome, that works out so perfectly, but kind of on a tangent.
Yeah, if we're adding them together, then I don't think they'd have enough power to get the victory, because this is Super Buu Gohan absorbed, presumably. He'd still absorb him, and that's when the fusion happens. But if it was a multiplier, Tien times Goku, then he would get the win, and maybe we'd get to see the Tri-Beam get a victory. It always does cool stuff, but it's never got a big win. So, what would we call this guy? Goen? Toku?
Or Tenku.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so, yeah, if it's a multiplier, I think they could get the win here. If it's...
Oh, easily.
Yeah, if it's a add, if it's a plus, then I think they'd lose, but maybe I'm wrong. Just because Gohan was pretty much relative to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, because it's Mystic Gohan. So, that on top of Trunks and Trunks and Goten and Piccolo all inside of Boo, I don't think... It'd be a tough ask.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just open to interpretation about how strong this fusion is, because it's never happened, and all fusions seem to have different multipliers. I mean, Vegito, like, the gap between Goku and Vegito seems to be way huger than, like, Rose Goku Black and Merge Zamasu, for instance.
Yeah. So this story-wise, I don't know how much it would change really. It'd be interesting if they stayed fused, and we got to see them living with Chi-Chi and Chatsu having to kind of tag around with them too.
That'd be an interesting story. But I would honestly say that if they could turn Super Saiyan, I think that a Kikoho would just demolish Buu at that point, because the Kikoho, especially the Shin Kikoho, like, Ten Shinhan was, like, able to push back second form Cell. So if he's able to do that, I see Tenku being as a Super Saiyan and shooting one Shin Kikoho, just destroying Buu.
That means everybody dies inside Buu.
Yeah.
Which is kind of traumatic, but it's Dragon Ball, so the Dragon Balls are still around anyway, so they'll all be wished back, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Yep, they just go over to New Namek, and you can use the Dragon Balls to wish back anyone, and you can do the same wish twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, everyone would be back. So that's a nice way to get the victory. What's the next fusion?
So if Goku fused with Gohan, or how would Gokuhan? That's what the name of the fusion would be, I guess.
Gokuhan.
Yeah, I guess.
Gohao?
Or
Gohanku.
Gohanku, or
you just have to add the names together. It could just be called Sun. We could call it Sun after the family name.
Pretty much. But
that makes sense.
But Buu would not stand a chance. Like that.
No, this would be the most monstrous fusion at this point you could have. It'd be Mystic Super Saiyan 3 mayhem.
Even if they didn't transform, I think that they probably could destroy Buu easy.
Yeah, they should be able to. I mean, Vegito pretty much could have, from what we saw. So, yeah, Buu wouldn't have any hope. It'd be great to see Vegeta's face when he was brought back as like a last resort and just showed up to see Buu getting squashed.
Yeah, that's true. And then if the Potara was permanent, oh my god,
that's a strange.
That'd be so awkward.
They'd just have to leave. They'd have to leave Chi-Chi.
Well, that's the reason. Like that's the reason why Goku and Gohan fusing in the first place is just disturbing. Because you think of the fact that Gohan now has memories of his dad banging his mom.
At least they didn't kiss, though, dude. So it's okay.
Yeah, I know, but that's even worse.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it?
Like, that's why this fusion has never happened, because just the thought of it is just disturbing.
Dad, brother, Buu or Goten. Yeah, let's leave that one alone. There's too much weird stuff going on. They'd have to just stay with Videl.
Yeah, oh my god. But, okay, but the next one, though, this would not go too well, I don't think. Goku and Mr. Satan, or Gotan. That's basically what his name would be.
Gotan. Saku, which is a I think. I recognize that name.
Saku. That's sake.
Yeah.
That's some rice wine, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It'd probably decrease. If it was a multiplication, we'd probably end up with decrease Goku somehow.
Yeah.
There's just no hope.
Goku actually made a statement where he's just like, my power, if I were to fuse with Mr. Satan, would increase, like, relatively from 1000 to 1001. And then he says, I might even get weaker. So, Yeah, because Mr. Satan has no knowledge of ki usage or anything like that.
Yeah,
so...
he could take away from his power. We could just see
Ye-
an afroed go 8
Yeah.
and failing
If anyone's
to go
anyone's
Super
played
Saiyan.
Budokai 2, you know it. You know that form.
Yeah, it doesn't go well. They get crushed completely. Completely
Yep,
crushed.
and then... Yeah. And if they were to last forever, just that would be terrible for Goku. Like,
Yeah.
you saw his face at the prospect of fusing with Mr. Satan forever.
Yeah.
He just looked like he was about to die. He was just like, kill me now.
It even-
Why is this happening
It
to
even
me?
damages looks, which is
Yeah, because
a big blow.
that fusion in Budokai 2 looks hideous.
At least he'd have some money. Chi-Chi might be happier. He's brought some money home.
But what good would that money do whenever everyone's dead?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so there's just no hope for this one.
No, but because I don't even see them being able to turn Super Saiyan just because of how like out of touch Mr. Satan is with ki and all that kind of stuff.
Mr. Satan would be confident though with just the base power of Goku. If they still have that much, Mr. Satan's personality would kind of see him do what he did against Cell before Boo killed him. You know, when he just stepped in there thinking he was going to destroy Cell, which would be kind of funny.
Probably.
It'd be a comedy scene.
It'd be like Veku versus Janemba.
Yeah, and again we'd get another hilarious Vegeta reaction. Who's that taking on taking on Boo? Is that Hercule?
Yeah, and then Vegeta would get demolished.
Yeah. Doesn't end out well for anyone.
But yeah, this is the last one, and wrap up the video.
Yeah.
So, what if Goku fused with Dende? Like, would that have really been as bad as he thought? Because, I mean, Goku could have just gone later and just fetched another Namekian to be Guardian, so, like, that whole thing of, like, oh, like, we need him for the Dragon Balls and all that kind of stuff is kind of a moot point, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so...
they all forget about New Namek. No one ever told... Why didn't Bulma ever tell future Trunks just to go to New Namek and wish everyone back? Never understood that.
Shh! Don't bring up that plot hole. See, I always just wondered about that too, because it's just like nobody has ever thought about that once in Trunks' timeline. It's just like, hey, like, we should, like, they should have just, like, nobody contacted Kaio, but
You don't even need to. Bulma knows it's there. She could have just said to Trunks, go and get... Instead of building a time travel machine, I can just build a spaceship, and I already have the designs from the one we used to Namek before, so I know where New Namek is. Get yourself there.
Right? Why didn't Kaio ever contact Trunks?
He didn't like him. He just didn't like him.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't like Vegeta, therefore I don't like Trunks. So yeah, if Goku fused with Dende, he would have a healing technique. And just assuming that Boo just continues to be dumb, I guess. Like, because he didn't really kill Gohan whenever he had the chance.
No.
And I would just say that if Goku could, if Denku or Gode, what would the name of this fusion be? I mean, as long as he could just keep him, I mean, if he just Zenkais himself just over and over and just heals himself, like does like a Captain Ginyu thing where he just like just
damages himself and heals himself, gets the crazy Zenkais, he might actually win, which is
just use the instantaneous movement, teleport to a different planet, do that kind of stuff for a couple hours, come back and face Super Boo, and they'll destroy him.
They would if they could Zenkai like that. If they couldn't, they wouldn't have much hope. Be a strange design, this one. Little Namekian.
Yeah, we've already seen it too.
Yeah.
We've already seen it in the anime too, so it's not the worst.
It'd be
certainly not that great though.
If they did win it, it'd be kind of Goku ending up as Guardian of Earth, which is like the last thing he wanted in the original Dragon Ball.
Right, because Kami was just like, hey, you want to go and be Guardian of Earth? And Goku's just like, nah, I kind of want to go over to the middle of the woods, bang my hot wife, and punch things.
Can't blame him on that one. It doesn't look like that interesting of a life. You got Mr. Popo at least.
Yeah, all you have to do is, I don't know. According to Team 4 Star, Popo smokes a lot of pot, so they'd have a lot of fun there.
Yeah, that'd pass the time. Yeah, that'd pass the time. Goku's stoned. How much would he eat?
Oh, who knows?
He already eats enough without that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's just yeah, Goku would have a good fight with Super Buu, and then after that he would just go back to being Guardian. Or knowing Goku, he'd probably go over to New Namek and just be like, "Hey, I don't want to do this. Who wants to be Guardian of Earth?"
They kind of look at him thinking, "What have you ate, Dende?" If they didn't know about the fusion.
Who knows? Who knows?
Chi-Chi couldn't be happy with a green Goku showing up.
No, Chi-Chi would have a heart attack, especially since a lot of people seem to just gloss over the fact that Piccolo, Daimao, and just Piccolo in general were just looked at as like these crazy demons. Because I mean, even in the Saiyan arc, like Yajirobe is just like, "Oh my god, a full planet full of Piccolos. That sounds like a nightmare."
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of quickly forgotten, isn't it? All that stuff. Piccolo Jr. was never that bad, though. He never really hurt anybody apart from Goku.
Nope.
Can't blame him for.
So I mean, I think with any of these fusions, we can agree that it's a good thing that the Potara is not permanent, because Goku would be stuck in some really bad fusions, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit Goku ever. It benefits Tien because he gets to be the strongest character in the show for the first time in a while.
Yeah, since like his introduction.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that we've pretty much just gone over a lot of good stuff here. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up this podcast for today?
The only thing I'd be curious about in those fusions, if Boo managed to absorb them, he'd get some pretty wacky designs.
Ooh, man. Yeah, that would be... I don't know, because that would be interesting. It's like whenever you play Budokai 2, and just Boo looks so wacky with, like, Frieza or Cell absorbed. So, yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but that's it from me. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed this. Hope the listeners did too. And you might have me back. I made some errors in this video, so maybe you'll ditch me after this.
No. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap up the podcast for today. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you go and subscribe to Mark, the Dragon Ball Dad. You can just look up Dragon Ball Dad on YouTube, and just he'll pop up, and he has a picture of Krillin.
Yeah, if I don't pop up, that means no wonder my channel's struggling so much.
Oh man. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, I have his channel link in the description. But anyways, guys, that wraps up the What If podcast for today. And thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of the Golden Podcast. So I'll see you all later.